Hi folks, and welcome back to Fishing with Den. Well, I don't know about you guys, but I have all sorts of problems with storing hook lengths for fishing. The ones I use are fairly small. They're probably 4 inches or 8 inches long, usually for method feeder or sometimes for a waggler rig. It's all very well to go out and buy these posh boxes, these plastic things with the pegs on them, but I can't manage to tie my hook lengths exactly the same length every time, and so I have all sorts of issues. I have tried it. I made myself up this thing with some nails in it, tried to put the hook on there and then tie the loop onto there. Couldn't do it, wouldn't work, so gave up on that. So this video is actually thanks to a friend of mine called Howard at the Sydney Course Angling Club, who showed me what he does. And he makes up these things. Really simple, really easy to use. For those of you that are older, you probably remember seeing some of these back in the day. But basically, it's a plastic packet which contains made-up hook lengths. And in fact, I've got 10 in this pack here. Let me show you how it works. Open the front. Open the first packet. And take out the hook length. There you go. That's how simple it is. You can then put the hook length onto the line, put this back and close it up, and it's back ready to use another day. 10 in there. You could put as many as you like, frankly, 5, 10, 20, whatever you decide. But it's very simple to make, and it's very cheap. Let me show you how. So in terms of the equipment you're going to need, go down to a stationery store and buy one of these plastic A4 folders. Plastic to make it waterproof. Go out and buy some of these resealable bags. These are 75mm by 50, but if you want 100 by 75 or any other size, you can buy those. Word of warning, don't buy the really cheap and cheerful ones, they're too flimsy. These are twice the thickness rather of the normal ones. Normal ones are probably 40 microns thick, these are 70, and you can tell in the quality. If you don't get these ones, these packets are going to fall apart really quickly. So that's it for supplies. As far as tools, need a pen, sharp knife, ruler, and a staple gun. And that's about it, really. In a minute, when I show you how to make up these hook length wallets, I'll actually be using one of these to make the bend in the wallet stay permanent. You, on the other hand, can just use a lighter, and I'll show you how easy that is to do too. So, let's get on with it, shall we? First of all, we have to cut the folder up. The ones I've made are 60mm across to give a little bit of edge overlap, and they're 80mm long. All you do, take this off the back if you've got one, throw that plastic bit away so you've just got the folder, and then, as you've seen, I'm just going to cut all the way down there. I'll be losing all this bit, but once you've measured it, use a craft knife and just cut down through. So having cut all of those up, you've got 4 or 5 packets ready for use. Be aware that my particular one has that hinge on it, so I do end up with that broken bit, so I'm probably going to throw that one away. What I'm going to do next is just round off the corners with a little bit of sandpaper, or possibly just cut them off with a craft knife. Just enough to round them off so you can not catch. This next bit's the fiddly bit. This is where we put all the packets together to go into the little wallet. Now what I've done is I've taken 5 at a time. I'm going to put 10 in the wallet, but I've taken 5 at a time. You've got to put them together, and the idea is to snip off that top seal section. Now the problem with it is, even when you get this right, it's a bit fiddly, but you have to try and clamp down on them because they love to move. And then all you do is you cut off the top sections. Repeat that for the other 5 here, and then we're ready to put them in the packets. So now take all 10 packets and put them together as neatly as you can and grip them. As I said, they get a bit slippery, so be very careful. Take your staple gun and staple in the centre of all 10, not too far down, like that. So they're all now held together. And you're doing that through the enclosed end, not the cut end. That keeps them all in one place for you, but we've now got to cut these off so they fit inside these little wallets. And as you see at the moment, they're quite long. So what we're going to do is put these on one side for a minute, and we're now going to finish the little wallet off. And to do that, what you do is you take your pen, and of course, in my first ones, they were blue, so I used a black pen. Unfortunately, I've just realised these ones are black, and a black pen won't work. So, grey pen. And the idea is go about 12mm in and just draw a line. That's your marker to make up this flap here. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take it over to the vise and I'm going to bend it. Take the mark, put it into the vise so it's nice and level. Tighten up and then just press really hard down like that. Take it out, open the vise a little, and then you just have to continue the bend with your fingers, as you see, like that. And then what I do is put the thing back into the vise, give it a really good squeeze. There you go. So the next thing you have to do is to make that a permanent bend and keep it so it's tight. And the way to do that is to melt it. Now I'm lucky, I've got one of these hot air guns here, which is what I'm going to use. Takes a second or two to heat up, but you'll notice if you move it along like this, the top starts off as a sort of a whitish colour where we've damaged the plastic, but as it gets hot you'll see it goes to a more silky colour, which is what you're aiming for. Don't go mad because you'll melt the whole thing, but really, there you go, it's gone back to its normal colour. Give it a second or two. I'll just squeeze this end piece in a bit. Can't fit it all the way in the vise, unfortunately. The mechanism stops it. So we now end up with that. So we now end up with a curved edge and this lip at the bottom. If you don't have a hot air gun, then the answer is take a lighter, grab a couple of pieces of wood. What you would have done is put this between the two pieces of wood. So we've just got a small amount protruding, a little bit fiddly. Press with your fingers, use the lighter, preferably one that works. Arthritis kicking in again, there we go, and just melt along there like that. And you achieve the same effect. So we're nearly there, but by creating this flap down here, what it means is that the front cover is now too long. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my scissors and cut along the front flap so it's about 2mm in, there we go, in, and then when I come to use this, for the first time you just have to open that out a little bit, folks, and then that fits in quite neatly. If it doesn't fit because you haven't cut it to the right length, you can always trim it a little bit more off. So taking too little off, first of all, is better than taking too much off, because you can always trim some more off. We've got the basic packet ready now, and it's time to install these for the hook lengths. So, as we've seen, These are going to go in here like this, but at the moment they're too long to fit in the packet. So again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my black marker pen, make sure they're properly up at the top, lift the flap back. I'm just going to put a small mark on there and there, and I'm going to cut that with a pair of scissors or a craft knife. In my case, I'm going to do it with a craft knife because I just feel it's easier. So, just checking on the two marks. Again with this, you have to press down because they're very slippery. And see, it's moving already. This is what I'm saying about being careful. You don't want them to move out of position because it looks awful. Right, and then gently, don't put any pressure on at all. Just pull the knife across about half a dozen or so times. You'll see it's starting to cut now. If you put too much pressure on, you'll move it all. And hopefully, yep, they're all off about that little bit there. We've now got a nice neat edge. So now, when I put it inside the wallet, everything should fit. There you go, perfect. And I'll insert that flap shortly. So that's that part done. Well, we're nearly there now, folks. All we've got to do is make sure that these packets are stapled inside the main wallet. The problem for me is that I've got this small stapler, and so this gets in the way. So this is going to look a bit fiddly, but what I'm going to do is insert a staple through this side and out the back of the wallet to hold it in place. As you know, the first staple was purely there just to hold all of the packets together. That's the first one. And the second one. So when we close this up, put the flap in, and we're good to go. I need to just push that down a little bit more there just to make sure it stays in, but in time that will actually go down quite neatly, just like these other ones did. That's the end of another video then, folks. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to click the like button, and if you want to subscribe you can. And finally, can I just give a big shout out once again to Howard at the Sydney Course Angling Club for showing me how to make this fantastic piece of kit. See ya!